How could a single aircraft send ripples of fear across the Western world? This is the story of the MiG-25 Foxbat, a marvel of Soviet engineering that once dominated the skies. Known for reaching astonishing altitudes and speeds, the MiG-25 set records and became a symbol of Cold War aerial might. In today's video, we explore the MiG-25 Foxbat, an aircraft that not only broke records, but also played a pivotal role in the aerial chess games of the Cold War era. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on more fascinating tales from history. During the 1960s, the strategic military landscape was dominated by an escalating aerial arms race. The United States Air Force's strategic bombers represented a formidable threat, which compelled the Soviet Union to fortify its aerial defense capabilities. This urgency intensified when the US commenced tests on the XB-70 Valkyrie, a state-of-the-art bomber capable of cruising at altitudes of 70,000 feet and speeds matching Mach 3. Faced with this advanced technological marvel, Soviet airspace engineers were pushed to rapidly innovate. Their response was the development of the MiG-25, known in NATO circles as the Foxbat. This high-altitude, high-speed interceptor was engineered to match the Valkyrie's exceptional performance. The MiG-25 was equipped with the robust Tumansky R-15 turbojet, an engine originally designed for powering cruise missiles and reconnaissance drones, enhancing its operational capabilities. Additionally, it featured the powerful 600 kilowatt Smerch radar system and was armed with 4 wing-mounted stations designed to deploy the R-40 air-to-air missile, known to NATO as the AA-6, capable of engaging targets at speeds of up to Mach 3. In the heated crucible of Cold War engineering, certain sections of the jet were subjected to temperatures as high as 300 degrees Celsius. Lacking access to titanium for mass production, Soviet engineers opted for a heavy nickel steel alloy. This material was not only rapidly weldable, but also easy to repair, suiting the urgent demands of the time. The choice of steel added significant weight to the aircraft, tipping the scales at over 40,000 pounds. This increased mass impacted the jet's agility, though it wasn't critical to the primary mission of intercepting high-altitude bombers, rather than engaging in close-range dogfights. As the Soviet team diligently advanced the development of the MiG-25, dubbed the Foxbat, the American XB-70 Valkyrie program faced abrupt cancellation. This followed a tragic collision during a publicity flight on June 8, 1966. Despite this, Soviet planners pressed forward, anticipating the possibility of the US pursuing a new high-speed, high-altitude bomber. The world caught its first public glimpse of the formidable Foxbat during a flight demonstration at the 1967 October Revolution airshow, a move that notably unsettled Western observers. American military intelligence scrutinized the MiG-25, noting its 46-foot wingspan, substantial engine intakes, and large propulsion systems. They speculated on the use of advanced materials in the jet's construction, necessary to endure the extreme temperatures from air friction at high speeds. This speculation stirred the Western media into a frenzy, with reports claiming that the new Soviet superjet could potentially neutralize a critical component of America's nuclear deterrence, the strategic bomber fleet. General John McConnell, then Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force, publicly declared that for the first time since World War II, the Soviets possessed an aircraft that outmatched American capabilities. In reaction, the US Air Force revisited their designs for a next-generation fighter, adapting the objectives of the FX program to exceed the new benchmark set by the Foxbat. This accelerated effort culminated in the introduction of the F-15 Eagle, which became operational in 1977. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union escalated its production of the MiG-25 in 1969, including a reconnaissance variant, achieving rates of over 100 units per month. By 1971, the USSR had deployed a contingent of 4 MiG-25s to Egypt, bearing Egyptian Air Force insignia but piloted by Russians. These jets were monitored by Israeli radar as they soared over the Sinai Peninsula at speeds surpassing Mach 3. The Israelis relayed concerning intelligence about the Soviet superjet to their American counterparts, heightening the unease. On September 6, 1976, an event occurred that dramatically altered the existing tension. Air Force Lieutenant Victor Blanco, on a mission near Russia's east coast, simulated a malfunction in his aircraft, lagging behind a squadron before veering off towards Japan. Intending to reach Chitose Air Base, navigational errors and a critical fuel shortage forced him to make an emergency landing at Hakodate's civilian airfield instead. Blanco executed a high-speed landing, skidding off the runway into the dirt, driven by fears of being targeted by Japanese air defenses. Upon being detained by Japanese authorities, he sought asylum in the United States, a request that President Jimmy Carter eventually approved. Blanco's subsequent career saw him employed as a civilian government lecturer at Top Gun, where he shared insights on the Soviet Air Force's structure and tactics. Although he had a family back in Russia, Blanco remarried a music teacher from North Dakota, with whom he had 2 sons, though this marriage ultimately ended in divorce. When the US learned of the defection, they promptly arranged for a C-5 transport to retrieve the MiG from Japan for thorough intelligence analysis. However, the Japanese found themselves delicately balanced between aligning with their American allies and not antagonizing their close neighbor, Russia. Opting for a middle ground, they allowed the American technicians to extensively inspect the aircraft on Japanese soil instead of transporting it to the US. During the examination and detailed debrief sessions with Belenko, the Americans uncovered several unexpected truths that contrasted sharply with the formidable reputation the Foxbat had acquired since its public unveiling in 1967. For starters, the aircraft was constructed from steel, not the anticipated titanium. Belenko revealed that the engines, despite their impressive capabilities, only had a surface lifespan of 150 hours, or about 70 missions, necessitating complete replacements almost monthly, not just repairs, which was neither cost-effective nor operationally sustainable. Moreover, he disclosed that achieving the vaunted Mach 3 speed necessitated immediate engine removal after landing, with the actual sustainable maximum speed closer to Mach 2.5. These revelations were enlightening for the American debriefers, particularly the fact that the Smerch radar lacked the advanced look-down shoot-down capability. This critical piece of intelligence led the US Air Force to revise its tactical approach from high-altitude operations to lower altitudes, influencing the procurement strategy that included the B-1 Lancer bomber. Belenko disclosed that the Foxbat initially suffered from significant controllability challenges at supersonic speeds, leading to modifications that included enlarging the vertical stabilizers and ventral fins to stabilize the aircraft. The American team, upon inspecting the aircraft, noted that the cockpit featured an unconventional layout, reminiscent of a steampunk aesthetic inspired by Jules Verne, with instrument placements that seemed haphazard. Despite these quirks, the inspectors were somewhat admiring how the Foxbat achieved such high speeds and altitudes using relatively basic technology, which they saw as a testament to the Soviet ethos of pragmatism during the Cold War. After extensive diplomatic negotiations and exhaustive intelligence assessments, Japan returned the MiG-25 to Russia by cargo ship. The exposure of its capabilities led to significant modifications by the Soviets, including a new radar system, enhanced missiles, and more durable engines, marking an evolution in the Foxbat's design. Consequently, the once highly classified nature of the Foxbat was diminished, as its secrets had been substantially unveiled. Russia launched a foreign military sales initiative that resulted in the MiG-25 being exported to several countries, including India, Syria, Iraq, and Libya. This export to Iraq notably impacted the United States during Desert Storm, as highlighted in previous discussions on this channel. Lieutenant Commander Scott Spiker's Hornet was shot down by a MiG-25 on the initial night of the conflict. Production of the Foxbat ceased in 1984, with the Soviet Union having produced nearly 1,200 units, encompassing both reconnaissance and strike models. The MiG-25 is still recognized as the fastest tactical jet in aviation history. During its time with the Soviet Air Force, the MiG-25 set 29 world records. Among these, a zoom climb to 123,000 feet is particularly striking, especially when you compare it to the F-14, which topped around 50,000 feet and rarely even flirted with that altitude. Fast forward to the late 1970s, and the Soviets, not ones to rest on their laurels, decided to distill the best bits of the Foxbat into something even more formidable. Enter the MiG-31 Foxhound, which took the cutting-edge tech and aerodynamic know-how of its time and turned it into the next generation of interceptors. The MiG-25 wasn't just fast and high-flying, it was a trendsetter, influencing aircraft design long after its heyday. Nowadays, the military aviation scene has shifted gears. With fifth-generation fighters, the emphasis has swung from the raw thrill of speed and the conquest of altitudes towards stealth capabilities and lethal versatility across all aspects. In this new era of fighter jets, the likes of which the MiG-25 represented, a machine built for pure speed and reaching the stratosphere, might just be relics of a bygone age. What are your thoughts on the MiG-25 Foxbat? Were its capabilities as formidable as they seemed, or was it all just Cold War propaganda? Share your views in the comments below, and if you've enjoyed this deep dive into aviation history, don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content.